People who now live, rejoice! The dark pool of possibility sitting in the shadow of your heart can remain hidden for now. You do not need to extract the best or worst of yourself and perform great and terrible deeds merely to survive. Isn't that nice? To have a day where you will not be forced to pick between a life of evil or a deed of martyrdom, because I have done such a deed on your behalf and ask, briefly, for your undivided attention. I have just returned from time traveling into the past where I killed a young American girl who was to become the second Hitler. My dad is a supporter of the Nazi Party. Yes, you heard that right. Don't worry. I'm not, obviously. In this story, the mentally unwell protagonist describes how they murdered their 8-year-old daughter, believing that she was the second coming of Hitler, while my dad permanently changed how I have to interact with information, always needing to make sure that there are no harmful remnants of his attempted indoctrination at a young age. I could never turn to murder like this mentally unwell protagonist did. So now we follow this parent years later, here at a public conference, as they describe how I have recently returned from killing the second Hitler by Jay Gahn. The mission to kill the second Hitler was not my idea. Its desperate architects only brought it to me as their plan neared completion. They didn't choose me for any particular skill I possessed. Rather, I bore an uncanny resemblance to my target's close uncle as he appeared 30 years ago. That coincidence allowed me a better chance to getting close to her, where I could engineer her downfall. It was an easy choice for me. All my loved ones were dead or banished. The few souls I knew alive were tortured or in hiding. A few, of course, were the torturers. I had no choice but to go backwards and kill this girl. The death went off as planned, well choreographed. I was not nervous about the outcome. I did receive a small shock when I raised my hand to do the deed. It's natural that if I looked like the girl's uncle, she would look like me. But it turns out she looked just like my daughter. Therefore, as my hand continued to move, I looked into her eyes and also seemed to be looking into my daughter's eyes. For the last time. I stayed in the past long enough to watch the girl die. I had to be sure. I watched coldly as the life ran out of her. A monster, larval. But was that life good or evil now? Was she still as innocent as my daughter? So I held her small hand as she left the world untouched by what she would become. I stayed in the past for a preset length of time, After which, it returned me here. And after I returned here, the device dissolved. I am pleased to report the second Hitler remains dead in our time. Her passing at age 8 is marked as an accident in the archived God reports, and I found no follow-up articles regarding suspected foul play. I am reluctant to go into detail about how and what she did. History, as she proved, replicates itself so cleverly. I didn't feel like a hero at all. After you've done something good or bad, that cause and effect exists in the past, forever chasing each other in a loop, cat and mouse. Now, the scientists' work made that connection between the entropy and fields, and I bet many of you have had daydreams of killing killing someone who's evil, and as far as you know, that's all I'm doing. Describing a rather vivid daydream. If you have only your memory and nothing else, and no evidence of that occurring, then you must have tremendous trust in yourself. Now that I've returned from the past, my life too is changed. I find myself married to a different woman with a new daughter. They seem like wonderful people, and I am looking forward to getting to know them. I have often been tempted to contact my previous wife, though I would not know how to introduce myself because the children we had together, never existed. I bear that terrible fact for the sake of the world. The hardest part of carrying out my mission was knowing I could be erasing them. Though part of me had hoped that my wife and I would have found our way to each other through some other story. Time doesn't work that way, though. If you see someone you love when you leave this room, be sure to hug them as though they died a horrible death in the gulags of an alternate world. I will not be answering any further questions about the alternate timeline. For your sake and mine, I am taking some time off to get to know my new family.